Once again, I bring you greetings from the St. Mark Community Church for this hour of Wednesday church update. It is my prayer that this update finds you well, that God is still blessing, and that God is still keeping you during this time of pandemic. Once again, we're glad to report that God is still on the throne and encourage you to remember that even during this time, this too shall pass. I want to touch on the fact that right now, not only are we dealing with the pandemic, but also we're dealing with fires here in California. Record number of fires, properties being destroyed. Some 7 people have lost their lives at this point due to the fires. And so we have a lot of our neighbors who are now losing their homes because of the fires that are raging here in California. Other states are sending in firefighters to assist us during this time. And so our prayers really need to be expanded to include not only the pandemic, but also the fires that are raging here in California. As you know, recently, another black young man has been shot. He was actually helping to break up a disturbance, and the police came and shot him in the back. The officer that shot him fired his weapon, we believe 7 times. 4 of those bullets hit the young man in the back. He is still alive, but it's believed that he may be paralyzed and paralyzed for life. This issue with Black Lives Matter, with the police and how they handle African Americans when there's a disturbance, is ongoing. We have not gotten out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. And so I have to encourage you to remain engaged in the conversation. We need to do something as it relates to police and how they treat people of color. As it relates to the pandemic, at present, worldwide, there are over 23 million individuals who have had the case. Over 800,000 have died. That is worldwide. In the United States, we've had almost almost 6 million people that have been infected. 177,000 have died here in the United States. In California, 676,000 people have been infected. We've had 12,261 people who have died. In Solano County, we've had over 5,000 people infected. God is blessed. We've only had 46 people who have passed. In our neighboring county, Yolo, we've had 2,000, a little over 2,000 people have been infected with 47 deaths. Now, again, I repeat that any single death is one too many. But at the same time, we have to be grateful that the numbers have not skyrocketed beyond what they are at present. When this first started, there were estimates that here in California, here in the United States, we'd have over 1 million people who would perish as a result. And so God has watched over us. He has blessed us. He has kept us. But again, far too many have died as a result. And so we do know that the cases in California and all over the country are still increasing. And so we need to be careful. We need to wear our masks. We need to wash our hands. We need to keep that safe distance going on in our homes and in the community if we're going to get through this and make it through somewhat safely. Again, we want to encourage you to remember that those who are African American, Latino, Native, Hawaiian, Pacific Islanders are far more deaths within those communities than in the general population. And so those who are sick, over 65, have underlying conditions, those individuals we want to again encourage to maintain distance, to wear your mask when you're around people. Again, we challenge you, if you have not done so, to get tested. There's free testing available through OptumServe. We have it on our website, the information, but I'll repeat it each time I come. I'm going to repeat it, encouraging you to do so. That testing, you can call in at 888-634-1123. 888-634-1123. Stay on the line, speak to someone, and they will get you set up with some free testing. As you know, we're now in a political, they're getting ready for the presidential elections. And so I needed to share some numbers. First of all, if you have not signed up, if you have not registered to vote, you need to do so. If you have problems with the president we have now, register to vote so that you can get in and get the individual who you want to be in office. Complaining about what's going on in America is not sufficient. If you don't like what's going on with the political scene, you don't like what's going on with the police, it's important that you register so that your voice can be heard. Now, I need to share some information with you with regard to that. I'm going to read it if you don't mind, but I do want to share this information and then I'll comment on that which I'm about to read. More than 534,000 mailed ballots were rejected during the primaries across 23 states this year. 534,000 mail ballots were rejected. The rates of rejection in some states exceeded those of recent elections, and it can make a difference in who is sitting in the White House. With that having been said, we need to know that more than 6,480 ballots were kicked out, not used because they were mailed in. Mailed-in ballots were rejected, and that is just in 3 different states. So we need to really think about how we are going to vote. Election experts are saying at present during this hotly contested White House race that millions of first-time mail-in voters could lead to a record number of ballot rejections, triggering a legal war over which ones are valid. And so we need to recognize that both sides, Democrats and Republicans, during this agree that the fight over who goes into the White House will maybe on which ballots are counted in terms of mail-in ballots. The number of mail-in ballots rejected in 23 states again in this year's primary was 319,000 mail-in and absentee ballots were thrown out, not used nationwide in the 2016 general election. 319,000 mail-in and absentee ballots were thrown out. They were thrown out because they couldn't, the names didn't fit in terms of when they have to check the names. It didn't appear as the same name in the registration. They were thrown out because the postmark was late. They were thrown out because if you don't fill out that ballot, that mail-in ballot exactly right, they throw it out. Now, this is Pastor Brown. I don't use mail-in ballots. I go in and I vote inside of the booth. That way I know my ballot is counted. If you're going to use mail-in ballots, understand you need to do it exactly right. Otherwise, your vote will not be counted. So you may want to do what I do, is go down in November and vote in person. But if not, if you're going to use the mail-in ballots, be sure that you fill it out correctly because you don't want your vote not to be counted. Again, we ask that you keep our nation in prayer. This virus is alive. This virus is moving. I want to continue to pray for our first responders. And also, we want to remind you of those individuals who we are aware of who are still out there on the front line. Sister Faye Carnell, Missionary Anderson, Sister Moore, Missionary Kuti. Continue to pray for them. Remember that on each Tuesday, 12 noon, we're coming together for prayer. We encourage you to be a part of that. Wednesday and Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Bible study through a conference call. We encourage you to be a part of that. Sunday morning Bible study, 8:45 through conference call. We encourage you to be a part of that. We're asking you to call in 10 minutes early so that you can indeed be a part of those things. I'm going to ask our own brother Collins to make sure that he puts the numbers for those call-ins on our website so that you can get that information. I want to again thank you for listening to us. I pray that the information that we share on these Wednesdays is helpful and a blessing. God bless you. I ask you to continue to pray for me, and I indeed will continue to pray for you. God bless you and God keep you until next time.